G'day guys, I got a good one for you. This confused the hell out of me, and I'm working away on this 4000, so GPX4000, and so getting variable frequency put in it, and a better lower noise, better dynamics front end. So there's me working away, and you got to remember with these 4000s, the display is not backlit. And when I usually work on these detectors, any of the other ones, there's light leakage through the back of the back plate. I'll just push that down because the wires are, I've got it on our battery packs that we make up, and we actually sell these as well. Of course, you should know that. And I had it all hooked up as such, and I turn it on, and normally you see backlight come through here. And you go, yeah, the detector's on. These don't do it, okay? And the display, for some reason, it's really hard to see without backlighting, especially here. So what we'll do, I'll lean him over, and you can see, I think you can see the display there. Hopefully you can. I'll turn it on, and the display jumps up like so. And I'll explain the whole scenario. Watch what happens. So I've got the detector sitting there purring away, and then you got to remember this battery just indicated that it was going flat, like dead battery. So it might take a little while to do it. There it goes, it's going flat. Now, where'd the display go? Right, there's no display. The detector still works fine, but I've got no display. Okay, I've never seen this happen before, and this is what caught me out. By continuing to run the detector as it is, the battery voltage is probably dropping bit by bit by bit. So what did I do? I had a look at the detector. I've done everything, and I've gone and looked at the back of it. There's no display. What's going on? And first of all, you suspect the mylar copper ribbon these things on the one on the back, and that. So I'm having a look. I says, it got dry joints, poke, prod. No, nothing will bring it back up. And normally on a 5000 or a 4500, the display does not go out. It stays there. And I just scratched my head. So I've like I say, I've never seen this happen before. The display goes out. So what's happened is that the batteries run down even more while I'm wiggling and carrying on, trying to find out where this fault is, right? And I've done what I can, and I've given up. I've just basically taken it off, turn it off. Off comes the power. I'm in with a mylar. So I've sort of pulled the black bit here off. You push all those little tabs down, and it comes off. I've got the multimeter on there. I've popped this here out. So I'm getting onto the actual track work on that mylar, and I'm sitting there, got this resting on something, poking each one, measuring it back here, and I've got full continuity, and I'm going, damn. Now, because I've got full continuity, I'm thinking that either the crystal oscillator or something stopped working. I had a look at some of the ICs. This one here, it looked like it might not have been properly soldered down. I resoldered that. I checked everything around here, and there's me checking. I've checked all of the pins. Not that it would still come up with segments if there was something wrong here, except for the common. Checked all that, checked everything, and I'm going, what is going on? Damn it. And I could have just put another display, or another back part, but I've only got 5045s. I had another 4000. It's gone back to the customer. I wish I still had it. So I'm scratching my head. Then I'm under the detector and I'm saying, is it something I've done? Is there something I don't know? I've done something in a way and it's measuring pulse lengths, and if it doesn't get the right pulse length, that the whole thing falls over and your display turns off. I don't know. I've never had this happen. I'm you know, grasping at straws trying to work out why this has happened. Anyway, to cut it a bit shorter than what it is, it's the first time I've seen it. The battery's got right down, and no matter turning the detector on and off, the display refuses even to come on for a millisecond. It just does not come on at all. But the detector is working perfect, and I've got full. I can hear it. Digital control here. It bleeps away when you're turning the controls. Just to prove a point, we'll put it back together as such. Just line that up, push those tabs down, hold that in place. Move this away from all the bits and bobs there. Plug that back in, put in our battery. I'll bend it over so you can see the display. I don't know if you really can. Sometimes the camera picks it up, sometimes it doesn't, but I'll try. So we'll turn it on again. And first of all, there's your display. And you listen, the first low battery warning indication, goodbye the display. Good night, Irene. So it's going to do it in a minute. I actually put this on the charger because so there you go. It's done its old, little tune. Little tune says something. I haven't worked it out yet. It might go, I am dead, I am dying. I don't know. Battery is flat. Anyway, so it's done this right, and it's all functioning. So I've checked the continuity. I've checked everything, and now I'm thinking somehow the display, for some reason, has cracked across the front of it, down the bottom where all the interconnects are. It's a weak part of these displays, and they've used that conductive film type paint that they use on the inside of the displays, and that can break really easy. It's just a electro deposited, or um, yeah, some film they put on LCD displays. And yeah, you just etch around it and leave what's there, and that's how LCD displays work. Not to go into that, Bizzo. But so anyway, I've got to this point, and eventually, there you go, it turns on, no display, and that's what I got down to. The detector's working beautifully, no problem, but there's no display, right? Still working, right? I don't know if you can hear that, but I'll turn it up on my booster, flat out. Listen to this. So digital controls are working, and yeah, the detector's working, no display. I tell you what, I've never seen that. This thinking about it, normally when I hear that battery chime, I'm going flat type, or I'm getting down to 7.2 volts or whatever it is. I would normally just change the battery over and put it on the charger, but this battery here, I was doing tests and it was outside, and I didn't want to walk out there and get it, and I just persevered with the flat battery, and that has caught me out. So that really caused me about an hour's work backtracking and looking at everything, trying to find out why the display wasn't working. And there you go. It's the detector's working, no display. So Turn him off. Turn him back on. No display. So don't get caught out with that one. There's me ready to put a new display in it, which is an absolute pain to do. You'd rather put the whole new assembly in there. So yeah, it's just one of those things. So yeah, and it is. It's a 4000. So maybe it's only peculiar to a 4000. I could grab a 4500 and see. Actually, I could. How about I will? Might be a better way to say that. So what I will do, I'll put a 45 detector there on the same battery, and I'll see what happens. Well, even a 5. I can put a 5 there or 45. I take every time I move these detectors, don't leave these things connected, because if you jar it or drop it or anything and it goes wrench, it'll break it and you have to replace it. They're rather fragile. Even though they don't look fragile, they actually are. So make sure you don't stick your fingers under that capacitor when you pick it up. If you get a rub through there, you're going to go through the roof, because you're going to get 200 volts up your jumper. So I'll just find somewhere to put this. Remember, everything holds a charge on these. Don't put on anything metallic. You hear something ringing. Hopefully it's not mine. Okay, where's a fully functioning detector? I'll just there's a 45 up here. It's not mine. It's a customer's detector. It's got the customer's name on this one too. Um, and yeah, just ignore that, whatever it is. Someone's calling. Can you grab that and swap it with that one there? Excellento. It's another 4500, but the name's on the other side, so we don't want. It's probably David trying to get hold of me, is it? I think my phone still works. Of course, it's still recording. Okay, we've got to. I'll try and angle all this. How about we use this high melting point solder, holding the detector up like so, and I'll just see if it actually does what the other one does. That 4000. So there we go. It's on. I hope it's in cancel. Sounds like it. Good. Otherwise, it'll be a noisy mess. So I'll wait for the battery to die and see what happens. Well, not die, but give the low voltage sound. And of course, the backlight's turned off. It's only set for about 10 seconds. And this one is not yet modified, thus it will draw less current, even 20 milliamps less, but that should not be enough to be too much of a discrepancy between. But also we've got a variance in the set points for low voltage on these as well. Between detectors, the low voltage cutout. If I have never looked into it, if it's using an op amp and a couple of resistors like a comparator or something of that nature, you're going to have tolerances in that design, and maybe it needs an extra 100 millivolts or something of battery drop to actually trigger it, because obviously you're seeing that the 4500 is not, or the low battery has not triggered this detector into a low voltage situation. So there you go. You're trying to emulate something with different detectors, and obviously you can't, because of discrepancies like that. They're small variations, between unit to unit, and you think they're all the same. They are not, because I remember at the test sites years ago, we go down to test sites, we'd be testing coils and things, and I'm not going to say names, but there was a new detector on the market. It might have been these actually, might not have been, and there was a vehicle at the test site, and this vehicle would have been 15 or so, 15 detectors, and the fellows who I don't want to say too much because I don't really want to out anybody, but just say it was some dealers, don't know who, uh, were testing every detector at the test site to see which one was the best, and the best one they keep for themselves. Because there is variances in all these detectors. Believe it or not, there is the subtle variances between each unit. It might be, if you had a whole lot of 2% tolerances and they're all 2% high, and then you had another lot of detectors all 2% low on part tolerances, you'd get a lean one way or a lean the other, and it will cause a difference in the detector. So that's fact. That did happen. I actually had a witness with me on the day. So yeah, but that was a long time ago. I haven't seen that. But you know, when um, a 7000 came up, well, I was chasing a 7000 a while ago, and I didn't want to buy a new one. I thought they were a bit on the expensive side, so I was waiting. Well, I'm just chatting because I'm waiting for this thing to do a, da 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 and fall over. I don't think it's going to. So yeah, bought this 7000, but the reason I actually bought it is because it was the personal detector of someone who had a dealership, and you know damn well that if that detector was no good, they would not have been using it. If there was any discrepancies at all, no matter what it was, that would not have been their personal detector. I can tell you that right now. It would have been compared and all sorts. They would have done that. I would do that, so they would do that too. And yeah, anyway, I bought this detector. It worked fine, but I thought it was a bit of a heavy object. And like if you see in the videos, I actually did test with it, and I tested against these things modified with big coils, and in relatively hot ground. That was at the Talbot test site when it was in better repair, and I was getting better results off the modified 4500. So why did I want the 7000? Because I wasn't going around looking for tiny, blip blip fly specks of gold. I wanted big gold, and if I wanted small gold, it's put a small coil on it. I didn't need that sort of configuration. And it was just my personal preference. So yeah, that 7000 was just used for some tests, and um, that when I sold it to a guy over in the UAE. Oh, I'm falling asleep waiting for this thing. I don't know if it's going to do it. That can't be that much of a set point difference. I'm going to have to actually look at that 4000 now and measure the voltage going into the detector and see if it's really out of spec, or even this could be out of spec. But I would say there's something funny going on with that 4000. Oh, come on, go dead, do something. That's not going to. So maybe there is a set point issue in the 4000s and they actually turn off earlier. I'm going to actually go and discover that. I'm going to hook it back up and I'll just see well, if it's, I can't read it, can I? I was going to say I'd look at the voltage display and see what it's saying, if it's accurate, and see what it cuts out at. But what I will do, I'll put my multimeter across the battery lines and just see what it's at. And I think it does its comparator operations, not off the battery voltage itself. I think it's somewhere else in the circuit. It might even be off the 5-volt rail. I'm not 100% sure. There's a couple of extra voltage rails that are generated in these, but you know, as we don't have a full schematic diagram, we only have bits that we've nutted out ourselves. I have never bothered looking at the voltage comparator setup in these that measure the battery voltage. I've just had no reason to do it. It's never an issue, but I will be doing it now because of that 4000 that drops out. Okay, this is just going to keep going. It's working away, you know. Yeah, so it's some issue there. Either the detector's dropping out too early, or this can come down a lot further before it actually signals. Oh, dear me. If anyone knows, by the way, if um, there's a discrepancy even between the specification of the 45 or 5000 and the 4000, let me know, because I don't know. Maybe the 4000 set for a higher dropout voltage. It might be 7.3 and these are 7.2. I don't know. I just haven't. There's no reason for me to go into it. You know, it's it's along the lines of, I use transistors. Do I need to know at the atomic level how the transistor works? No, I don't. Um, you know, it's the same thing. I don't need to know as long as it works. But yeah, I have done research into that. I do know how it works, but that's a poor example. Yeah, okay. I'm not going to bore you with any more of this because that's not going to do what we want. And I'll turn this off and I'll go investigate the 4000. Catches.